This is the Throttle Out Show presented by Vixen Industries, the only show where monster truck drivers and mechanics come together to present what's happening in the monster truck community. It's the ultimate combination of torque, horsepower, and trash talk. And now for your hosts. First, straight out of the heart of Detroit Rock City, it's Kid Rock's neighbor and former driver of the BKT ride truck. It's Austin Spence. And the duo deep in the heart of Texas, it's the show owner and daughter of a man who conquered the industry for over 20 years. It's Harley Johnson, along with everyone's favorite Bryce Kenny lookalike, Austin Tweedy. So go ahead, fuel up, strap in, and remember, when in doubt, throttle out.
Well, good evening from the studio here
guys.
in Rockwall, Texas, where it has been a beautiful day here in North Texas. It was a little weird yesterday, storms randomly throughout the middle of the night, but what a great day it turned out to be. My name is Austin Tweedy, joined by my lovely co-host, as always, Miss Harley Johnson. And we're going to bring on our guest now. I say not our guest, our co-host. Who am I kidding?
He's
I've
not
done
a
this
guest.
before. I've done this before. Austin Spence, what's going on, man? How's it going up there in Detroit, Rock City?
Sorry, Spence. He's back in. I guess he doesn't know what to say anymore.
I was gonna say it's nice. It's nice to actually have you back, dude, and not in a hotel. God knows somewhere else. I hope everybody out there that's tuning in tonight had a great 7-Eleven and got yourself a Slurpee today. It was actually kind of cold, so going into 7-Eleven, it was packed
Today. I
Yeah.
totally forgot.
Yeah, what do you think I got this for?
I forgot.
Oh my gosh. Off to a great start, guys. But anyway, yeah, so how's it going in Texas? How you been?
Well, work has been pretty stressful. Our day jobs, anyways, have been pretty stressful. She deals with a lot of crazy customers. I deal with a crazy schedule with work, with being a full-time electrician. So I always enjoy our Sundays and our Wednesday evenings, and looking forward to get back to doing some monster truck and stuff real soon. How about you, my man?
Dude, I actually have some pretty exciting news. I didn't get a chance to talk to anybody about this, but I actually got a job. I start tomorrow. Super excited about that. So Spence is going to be a FedEx driver.
That's what I'm talking about.
So going to be definitely a weird change in pace for a career path, but it's something to just kind of get my foot in the door as far as just driving commercially and eventually getting my CDL. So that's kind of like the step I'm taking in the career path I'm kind of going towards. So hopefully when this eventually grows and blows up, or we potentially all go to a team, I'll actually have my CDL to get back into monster trucking.
One step at a time, my man. That's all you can do. I love it. I'm super happy for you. I think that's a good place to go. You can always work your way up there if you want to, and maybe we'll FedEx sponsor a monster truck at some point. Awesome. Right here, John Cadeau, you're always watching our shows. Thank you, and happy Shark Week to all y'all watching, all you Megalodon fans. Thanks for tuning in. Wayne Norby Jr., what's going up, man? Cody Spencer likes the new intro video. Spence, what'd you think about it? You hadn't even seen it till just then. What do you think about it?
That was interesting. I'm like sitting here just kind of waiting in the back studio, and I just hear like Megatron like doing a countdown. I'm like, what the hell? Like, that's interesting. But no, I liked it. That was cool. I love it.
Yeah, and then Slinger Groom, what up, Dihon? Okay, listen. I promise you, it's on its way. That's not anything that's being ignored. Just wait until the hair gets a little bit longer, so it's more satisfying for y'all. The Chuck Liddell purple mohawk, I'm telling you, would not go down very well. We're trying to be the best Bryce Kenny lookalike I can be. So
I just want to point this out. So our goal for this whole purple mohawk thing was supposed to be once we reach 700 followers, on Instagram, you were going to get a purple mohawk. We are 25 away from hitting 800 followers on Instagram. So you're almost 100 followers behind from holding your end of the bargain, Tweety.
I'm telling you.
We might have to throw a purple beard in there, too, to make
beard.
up.
Oh.
I don't know about that. But I love it. Thank you all so much for supporting us. Just before the show, Harley and I were talking about some things we're going to be working on at the end of this year. I promise y'all, we're doing everything we can to give y'all the best quality content as possible. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go past your comment there. Hey, Zeus, what's up, man? What's going on? Tweety is off for a show and forgets his lines. Yeah, I know. Rookie mistake.
That's what happens when you just completely forget what we do here.
Cooper's watching from Disney World. You're the man.
Oh, no. How to make Harley jealous in like one sentence.
Exactly. I wish I
Harley,
could.
what's your favorite place in Disney World to go to? I know there's like 6 different parks down there. Which one's your favorite?
I've only been to 2 of the parks down there. I've been to Animal Kingdom and Magic Kingdom was my favorite. Out of the
You've
2.
never been to Epcot? Epcot's the best one. Oh my god.
I've heard Epcot's really good. You can drink around the world, and I wasn't 21 at the time when I was living over there, so I'm like, I'll wait till I'm 21 so I can drink around the world. That's what it's.
That's
known
right. See, I went when I was like 6 to 8 years old. I was really little, and the best ride our entire family Disney trip was Test Track, which was at Epcot. So that's my all-time favorite ride. I can't wait to hopefully go back in my 20s and take my wife down there to check it out. But no, maybe we should all plan a trip. Throttle Out goes and invades Disney World.
Yeah, Throttle Out invades Disney World. We just leave a remember when out Throttle Out sticker.
I'm down. I will stack up on stickers and I will vandalize Disney World. You count on me for that. Every day, hopefully, I'll be streaming the ER. Oh, well, hold on, Slinger, you're going to the ER, buddy. What's going on?
What?
Sorry. Yeah, July 17th is going to be a heck of a day. I will hopefully be streaming ER for you guys. ER, is that something, or is that a different tour?
That might be a different show.
Okay, I was worried because I hate going to the emergency room and stuff because, as you guys know, some of you guys that are tuning in may not know, I've had some issues with my leg recently, and I have this kind of really gnarly infection, and I've had to go in, and a doctor had to like scrape some. Brother.
Okay.
Okay.
Not the kind of ER.
Made us all super nervous.
I know. I was
dude.
like, what?
Anyways, no more talk about issues or emergency rooms or anything right now. Let's talk about some monster truck
Let's
stuff.
get to monster trucks.
Let's talk about
how.
Hey, let's talk about here on the Throttle Out show. We are obviously extremely new still. Okay, we're not very long into doing this show, so the technology stuff, y'all just got to bear with us. We're learning on the fly here, and we have got a whole video of footage from the Marion, Illinois Team 2 Extreme Monster Truck show that was put on there this past weekend. And we went to upload it, use it for tonight, and none of the video footage works. It's not compatible. Codes aren't working, and we don't know why that is. Some stuff people record with an iPhone works, some doesn't, and we think that's probably the issue. So we're going to put that up probably on our YouTube, but at least our Instagram and Facebook pages.
We'll put it up on Instagram, on Facebook. We might put a little montage together for YouTube as well.
But we are going to talk about that show a little bit because it was a pretty interesting show to cover. And I know all about what happened this past weekend. So, like I said, Team 2 Extreme invaded Marion, Illinois this past weekend. Marion, Illinois does not get monster truck shows, okay? Just so y'all are in the know of that. If a show ever comes close to that area, it's over on the Missouri side or further up into Illinois. So a show in Marion, Illinois is unheard of. So there are a lot of people that are thinking that the world finals of monster trucks was invading Marion, Illinois. Let's see. The first night, Wheelies went to Austin Minton and Jekyll and Hyde. Racing went to Jimmy Cretin and Bounty Hunter, and Freestyle went to Jekyll and Hyde. Now, something that's pretty cool about that show, and like I said, we're going to put up this video footage on our Instagram and most likely our YouTube as well. Austin Minton goes out for skills and does a nice little Paxton popper, up onto the nose, and something goes wrong, and he lays that son of a buck over, rolls over, goes belly up. And
oh, no.
When Austin does these Cretin the shows for 2 Extreme, when he non-Monster Jam shows or other promoters, he has never ever rolled over doing one of those before. It's the first time that ever happened. He thought that was kind of weird. Took the truck back to the pits, found some mechanical damage. I can't exactly remember what was wrong, but the better fact from that story is they didn't have a loader to flip him back over for that show. So Spence, you know what they did?
Grab another monster truck and chain it up.
You're damn right. That's exactly what they did. Rat Attack came over, and I guess Rat Attack has done this in the past, and they just hooked something to the front of Rat Attack, hooked over to the cradle of Austin Minton, Jekyll Hyde, and pulled that son of a gun over. Monster truck flipped over another monster truck, and it was all planned out, and it worked out really well for him. So Friday night was a great show. The grandstands were sold out, and none other than good old Hot Rod Rodney Tweedy on the microphone announcing with Cam Miguez. And to my knowledge, I think Cam may have left the announcing booth and went back to help all the trucks that were breaking down. They had 4 or 5 trucks there. 3 trucks broke down that first night. I know everybody behind the scenes, and Jimmy was kind of upset about that. But like I said, monster trucks don't come to that area all that often, and everybody loved the show. So Saturday night, sold out again. It was a mud fest, though. So I know that was an issue with the first night. Everybody was upset that the track was kind of dusty and everybody was looking for a water tank, looking for a water truck. But prayers were answered as God sent down a nice little rainstorm, and it was a mud fest. So racing the first night went to Iron Outlaw, Tyler Singer, attaboy. Donuts, since they didn't do the skills competition, Donuts went to Austin Minton, Jekyll and Hyde, and then freestyle went to Bounty Hunter. So freestyle, another truck comes out, Tyler Singer and Iron Outlaw. He's got a decent rhythm going down. He hits a jump, and his front left wheel snaps off. The wheel tethers catch the wheel so the tire doesn't go rolling, but it kind of puts a damper on the evening when that happens. But like I said, that didn't happen a whole lot there. So people are like, oh, cool. We're actually seeing trucks like break in half. It's kind of cool. You got to think, Team 2 Extreme, they're on the road every weekend. Okay. Those trucks are going to have a breaking point at some show. It was unfortunate it was this past weekend. But to make matters even better, the king himself, Jimmy Cretin, goes out for freestyle, and he breaks off a front wheel as well. But that didn't stop him as he took that truck into a damn donut on 3 wheels and ended his freestyle. So hats off to you, Jimmy Cretin. You put on one hell of a show. I know I've enjoyed any single Cretin show I've ever gone to. And I'm really glad that show was a success. And I hope there are more shows to come back to Marion, Illinois in the future.
That, for what you just described to me, that sounds like almost a throwdown tier style show, just super entertaining. And for a town that never gets monster trucks, I think 2 Extreme just made some fans for life with that type of performance. Absolutely. That's freaking awesome.
And when we did one of our first live streams, we reported a show that the Cretins did in Denton, Texas. And it wasn't even quote, a Cretin show. It was for Ed Beckley. But they kind of took over the show. Some trucks had to back out last minute. And it turned out to be a great show. The venue, I kid you not, it wasn't much bigger than our living room here in our apartment. It wasn't a big venue at all. They ended up putting on a great show. They always know how to maneuver those trucks. And we're going to talk a little bit about some good drivers, here in a little while. But moving on, I want to hit on something real quick.
Oh, boy.
Marty Garza with Monster Truck Technologies. I know how well y'all can see this. Sent us his, it covers up my ugly mug, right? Sent
it's a good look.
This nice hardback copy of his book, Monster Truck Technologies, which you can get on his website, Monster Truck Technologies. I've only got to take just a glimpse into this book, and I'm telling y'all, this stuff is just chocked full of monster truck history and wrenched-on trucks. If you have ever thought about building your own truck, being a wrench man or wrench woman on these trucks, you want to pick up this copy. You want to see how this sport has evolved. I think there's no coincidence that they put the name Evolution in the name of Overkill at one point. The evolution of monster trucks, it gets so in-depth in this book, and I'm so excited to share with y'all in the coming weeks. What we're going to start doing is probably breaking down maybe a 5-minute segment on each show, maybe on Wednesdays from now on. I'm going to take this book with me when I go on the road, and we're going to start breaking some monster truck technologies down. For example, I won't go through and try to find the picture right now. I'll put it up on social media later, but it breaks down the differences in between certain types of axles for monster trucks. For example, a Clark axle and a Pettibone axle. It's got the breakdown of every ring gear, the planetary, the hub, the inner axle shaft, all that good stuff, the sun gear, everything, you name it. And it shows the differences in between those two types of axles, why one might benefit your truck, or what would be better suited for you and your team. So it's a great book. Pick it up at Monster Truck Technology. It's been out for a while now. I'm kind of behind the game. But Marty, thank you so much for the book. I'm excited to break the sucker down for everybody week in and week out. We'll probably do, like I said, 5 minutes from here on out. So Monster Truck Technologies, get that.
I'm pretty jealous because I still haven't even got my copy yet. I'm jealous that he saw our show and he's like, yeah, I'll send you a copy. And I'm just like, I still probably got to buy mine. Oh, well, that's still awesome. Honestly, we need some more education, learn your people something on the show instead of just a lot of SPAC talk.
Well, I think it's great for anybody who has ever thought about building a truck, and not even just a monster, maybe a mega truck, maybe just wanting to get some just some experience in the monster truck world. You'll already have some knowledge if you pick up this copy. I'm telling you, it goes way back from the beginning between Bigfoot, USA-1, everybody in between. I've just skimmed through it, just very little. Obviously, I just got it today. I thought my RC parts came in for my little Stampede truck, and I was so pumped. It's like, yeah, I'll get some video footage for the show with my RC truck. I've had it sitting in a closet for over a year now, not using it. It's probably been longer than that. And it turns out it was the book that Marty sent us. So Marty, once again, thank you so much, man. We really appreciate you sending that out over here.
Well, speaking of USA-1, wasn't there some news about USA-1?
Yes. So get this, you guys. I know it's probably been posted on every single monster truck group out there, but USA-1 has been sold. The name and everything has been sold. I'm actually going to look it up. I know I have the link and everything in my phone, so bear with me for a second.
Go ahead. We got what you're probably looking for here.
That's right here. So this gentleman, I'm not 100% sure what his name was. You might need to scroll back up. But anyway, a couple weeks ago, sat down. Yeah, this James Trantina. I have never heard of this guy before at all in the monster truck industry. So anybody knows who this guy is, if he's a mud truck guy, if he's like a tractor truck pull kind of guy, and just suddenly out of the blue, he's just like, yeah, I'm going to buy USA-1, which we all saw. I want to say it was about a year or so ago. We saw the USA-1 kind of come back. Another chassis was kind of like a really unique C10, had like fender flares on it, had a big old debut, and then that was it. Like you hardly saw that truck at all.
You're talking about Roger Gauger, and he's actually piloted that truck for a few years now. I know the breaking COVID and all that's kind of put a damper on him touring that truck, but he is he works every day for a living, just like we all do. He's trying to live the dream and being part-time monster trucks, part-time, working full-time, and he's done an exceptional job with the USA-1 name. I've been to a few shows where he's ran. Excellent, just awesome human being. But he never purchased the truck. So go ahead, Austin. You were just saying moving forward.
So it's just moving forward. It is nice because USA-1, I believe, was the first ever points champion in, I believe, any kind of monster truck or sanctioned championship. And I'm glad that USA-1 gets that recognition, even though the king of monster trucks will always and forever be the big blue Ford out of Missouri, Bigfoot. But USA-1 hasn't exactly had the success over the years when it comes to just staying in competition as Bigfoot has. Bigfoot's always been around ever since the beginning, and USA-1 just kind of comes in and out and honestly changing names like a bunch of the what are some of the other trucks I'm thinking of here, Tweety? You got like Monster Patrol and Barefoot. The name is always changing and going around to other different people. So whoever this gentleman is bringing USA-1 back, I really want to see it come back swinging, because this, to me, that we have up on the screen is the last time I ever saw the USA-1 ever in any form of competition. And being as we kind of have a theme now, a bunch of old classic names are coming back to the forefront. You got the Pagliarulos that now have two classic names, Ice Monster and Excalibur. We know Excalibur's making a debut. So whoever this gentleman is, if he's going to bring USA-1 to the forefront and come out swinging as hard as he says he's going to, I would love to see USA-1 actually come back into Monster Jam competition. Whether it will happen or not is entirely up to them.
So according to this gentleman, James Trentino, was like you said, I don't know who he is either. I was checking out his Facebook earlier, and it looks like that he has been involved in the industry for a few years now. I'm just seeing that it's not just, hey, I'm going to buy USA-1 today. So, but I don't know him still. I also saw that he put out a post saying that he's already looking for somebody to pilot the race truck as well. I don't know if he's already got somebody in mind or if he's literally just going to be pulling out applications, that he gets sent to him via email. But this guy does seem very motivated to kind of team up with Everett Jasmer, bring this truck back into the spotlight that it so deserves. Something that's kind of disappointing to me, because if you go into YouTube and you type in USA-1 monster truck, you only get like a lot of old footage. You don't get a lot of the stuff that even when Roger Gauger has been piloting the truck for the past few years. And I know he's done that exceptionally well. I've seen it in person, but there's not been a lot of footage there. So I want to see this truck be brought back into the spotlight that it so deserves. That is a household name. Like you mentioned a few other trucks that they've been tossed around in the independent world the last few years, but those are household names in monster trucks. Bigfoot, Barefoot, Carolina Crusher, Monster Patrol, obviously USA-1, just to name a few, and there are definitely more. But my point is these trucks deserve that limelight, that spotlight. They are obviously Hall of Fame names and will always be a pillar in the sport.
And Shaggy here, Mr. Matt Cheever. If you guys don't know Shaggy, he's over there on the Monster Truck Attitude Era. Check him out if you haven't already. USA-1 is responsible for taking monster trucks from a sideshow act to a real competitive sport. I 100% agree with that. because it used to be just car crushes. And then I think the old saying is, ever since men have invented cars, once the second one was made, we started racing them. Same thing goes for monster trucks. USA-1 is literally the second monster truck ever made. And it deserves to stay in competition. And it deserves to be recognized for that. And especially as a racing champion.
Go down to this guy's comment right here. Let's read this
Which
one.
one?
Kirk's comment. James Trentina used to own the Yellow Rat Nasty and Tarantula trucks. He also promoted those big independent shows a few years back out of Minnesota. Fun fact. Okay. Like I said, we did not know that. We don't know this guy. Don't know him from Adam. Never even heard of his name till today. I added him on Facebook. I hope he accepts my friend request.
Please, we'd like to have you on the show.
Yes. You're watching.
But no,
have you on.
If you can hear me.
No, that's awesome. Honestly, there's not really much that comes out of Minnesota. So the fact that someone out there actually runs monster trucks, that's awesome.
And USA-1 being from that area as well, going just right down the road to another city in Minnesota. So I will tell y'all what worries me about this purchase. About 10, 11 years ago, somebody else we all know on the show, Mr. Hot Rod, Rodney Tweedy, after he left Bigfoot, teamed up with a guy out of South Carolina. And there was supposed to be a purchase made of the USA-1 and all its belongings. That deal kind of half-assed went through, kind of didn't. And obviously never, rightfully claimed ownership of that. If you Google, I tried to find this picture earlier. There's a picture of my dad standing next to the USA-1 monster truck along with Chandler Lloyd and Everett Jasmer. That purchase is going through. Dad's holding the keys. It was a really big deal. It was an awesome moment for all of us to be a part of. But like I said, it ended up not going through. I hope this isn't one of those deals. I'm not trying to put negative energy out there into the universe, but stuff happens, Austin.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate part of monster trucks is once life gets in the way, it's just there's nothing really you can do. But the fact that there's already so many old school names, like look at what Harper has done with so many of the old school names. You got the Outlaw truck, which is his truck. That has been a staple truck in the back in the TNT days with, our favorite trash talker, good old Mike Wine, representing the Fords. Even though it's not a Ford right now, they actually switched the body to a Chevy, which kind of hurts a little bit. But you also have, oh my gosh, so he's got, let's see, Carolina Crusher has been one of them. You got Barefoot. I think there's only 3 old school names that he actually has that runs in his tours. And he even has some young competition that represents those trucks, which are the Eichelbergers, Tom's kids.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
So I'm just saying, if you're going to have that big of a name coming back, make a statement.
Make a statement. And I mean, obviously, we all know there's a lot of free independent drivers out there on the market as well. I say independents that used to be company drivers. So, I mean, there's a lot of people who potentially come out of the woodwork and pilot that truck. James is the owner of Granite City Speedway. He just put on that 6 truck show featuring Vodders Motorsports and Samson a couple weeks back in St. Cloud, Minnesota. You're right. We covered that show. His Facebook page is Triple B Motorsports. Okay. All right. Thank you.
We didn't know that.
Thank you.
Gotta add that on.
5.
Holy crap. Mike Hedman saying Thunder Chicken. Yeah, I saw that Thunder Chicken's actually being restored, so that's actually pretty cool. There's a Mount Rushmore Monster Trucks USA-1 with Bigfoot, Gravedigger, Max D. What do you think?
No, I would have to agree with that. That's accurate.
You think so?
Yeah, absolutely.
Who would you put up there, Spence?
I
feel like
real quick,
huge names.
Real quick,
impacts.
I think that is a perfect Mount Rushmore. If somebody were to build it right now, you have 2 trucks from the past. Okay, USA-1 Bigfoot, the first 2 trucks ever. Okay, technically Gravedigger is a name, from the past as well, but 2 trucks that still dominate the show now would be Gravedigger and Max D. So I like that. Good job.
Here's the thing. When I think of Route Musher, I think of the faces. So as far as trucks go, I could see that. But if you were to make a Mount Rushmore out of 4 drivers, who would it be?
Come on.
Oh.
Bob Chandler's got to be one.
Chandler, obviously. Dennis Anderson, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't want to be with what I want to say here because I would say Tom. Definitely Tom. So we've got We've got, what'd you say, Bob, Dennis, and
Bob,
Tom?
Dennis, and Tom Menz.
One
And
more.
that- do you think Everett would be up there, or would it be one of Everett's drivers? Because yes, USA-1 is a household name and is a historic truck. However, Everett really didn't drive it that much.
No, I would definitely say it would still be Everett. Everett has been the man. He's been the team owner. It would be Everett all the way. No, that's good. Andy Brass. Yes, Steve Lashinsky. I personally couldn't agree more.
Oh, this one. Bob Chandler, Everett. Dennis,
Fred
and-
Schaefer. I like that, Mike. I like that. Fred Schaefer's a good.
I was thinking Fred. I really was. Love it.
Why didn't you say it?
Why?
Yeah. Why didn't you say it?
I was thinking about how I wish there was Dr. Pepper in this and not water.
You just
I
had a
can't
Dr.
believe.
Pepper for dinner. You'll be
I
fine.
know. I know.
That's it. That's all you had for dinner, Harley. Is just a Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, that's all he's allowed is one Dr. Pepper for dinner.
Just one. That's it. Back to your
Yeah.
cage.
All right, Harley, if you want to take down our USA-1 banner, and then
Oh, of
we'll
course.
talk about event.
gym.
Yeah, let's talk about what happened at the Jamboree this past week. You can go ahead.
Are you sure you want to talk about this, Tweety? Because I know
I don't
you're.
want to talk about this, but y'all want to talk about this.
Let's talk about it.
Go ahead. Play the clip.
So the 4-wheel Jamboree, as we all know, no longer has monster trucks. So these are their 2 promo videos that we have up on our screen that they had. Obviously, they had the show and shine, bugs, and then they had only mega trucks is like the main thing. Here's the thing. Mega trucks are known for a lot of like really unique short course off-road racing. This was just kind of like monster drags, but with mega trucks. And whoever the hell this band was, they promoted it like they were like some A-lister country band. Never heard of. Oh, there's a monster truck, but it's a ride truck. But it still looked like there was a pretty good turnout, unless this is all footage from previous Jamborees, and they really didn't have that bad a turnout. I could not find footage anywhere about anything that happened in Bloomsburg over the weekend. So if anybody's got anything,
Now, you
please
said this
feel free to
was
send us.
promo for it.
This was their promo on their actual Instagram page that I found these footage. And again, it looks like, oh, it's a stacked, grandstand. But as you look as they're going around the trucks, you don't see the grandstands. And you kind of get an aerial shot. It's like, okay, are they actually stacked?
When you do these Jamborees, these are big, jam-packed, sold-out events. Doesn't even matter what's actually going on in the infield, right? The 4-wheel drive Jamboree that goes on in Indy every year it's jam-packed. I know people that come all the way from Southern Illinois to go to that show, and that has nothing to do with the monster trucks. They just want to be there for all the other stuff. So it could possibly be, or potentially be, everything, all the people you're seeing could be for that.
Right. Now, here's the thing. So I love the mega truck scene. I think it's great that we now have another form of motorsport. So people like us who love monster trucks, but we clearly do not have the paycheck to build and own and operate a full-fledged monster truck team, because you're talking like for a trailer, spare parts, hauler, truck itself, you're looking at easily over $500,000. I mean, and that's underestimating everybody. That's not an exaggeration. While mega trucks, they're smaller. You don't need to have just a big block Chevy supercharged on alcohol. I mean, these guys are throwing anything from an LS, a small block, a big block. I mean, anything and everything in these trucks, because they're small, they're light. And guess what? You could use a regular car hauler to take them around everywhere, and they fit in a garage, a regular old garage. But it still utilizes the same technology monster trucks still use. Our good friend, and now sponsored by UTI, Tanner Swinhart of Tannerite Mega Truck, he was a former fabricator for Monster Jam that we got to work alongside with, and is now a professional mega truck driver. You might have seen him out there on, I think it's Discovery's mega mutter truckers or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And dude is making a name for himself too. So I'm just saying, if you're into monster trucks and you want to drive, but you don't have the pocketbook for a monster truck, mega trucks is a great alternative. Here is where I kind of lose a little bit of interest with the whole mega truck scene. There's not really a sanctioned racing body. Yes, there is promoters like Trucks Gone Wild, but they're just to promote whatever event's going on. There's no point standings. There's no like dedicated race style series. And it looked like FTI, the transmission company, was trying to put something together along those lines before COVID hit. So I would love to see mega trucks taken more seriously as a racing aspect element as far as its own sport, because that is honestly something Monster Trucks itself has been missing, is more intense, more in-depth racing rather than just going out and destroying a truck. So
And look,
I think,
and like you said, people are kind of venturing more towards mega trucks. You know, they're more cost effective for the owner, and they're getting back into racing. Hello, Monster Jam. Are you picking up on anything here? Racing.
Yeah.
Where's that Monster Jam?
exactly. And there's multiple different forms of racing too. You got hill and hole, you got straight line, you have a bog pit, you have short course, you have timed racing. I mean, it's you could always pick and choose whatever type of event you want to run. While Monster Trucks, it's just you're very limited in what type of style of racing you can actually run.
Well, you're limited now. Everybody is geared towards either straight line, Chicago, or St. Louis style racing. That's really about it. There used to be all kinds of crazy stadium courses that trucks have run back in the day, and they need to get back to doing some of that stuff.
I 100% agree. Like, one of my favorite courses, and a lot of people might agree, is when you see the back to school bash, like the big type of racetrack that kind of incorporates some of the freestyle obstacles. You have an over under, which is insane. I love that. Why are we not doing that more? Monster Jam clearly has the technology and capability of doing that, but nope, we're going to make cookie cutter tracks. It's the same thing every single freaking weekend, and it's boring. I'm sorry. It's really boring.
Because they're doing a show, Austin. They're not in it for the racing. It's a show. We all love it.
Entertainment.
We flip and love it. We buy tickets and we keep up with it because it's awesome. So,
well, if it's a show, then isn't it supposed to be entertaining? I'm just saying.
Yeah. Now, we were talking about mega trucks at the Jamboree where monster trucks are not, and I'm starting to get a little sick to my stomach. So I'd really like to move forward from that. Austin,
okay.
What's going on with your background tonight? Will you talk about that just a little bit?
Yes, absolutely. So a couple of my friends and I have kind of gone and talked a little bit. So we briefly discussed this when we talked to Joe Sylvester, but we are going to be running an actual a Rigs of Rods monster truck tour here on the Throttle Out show with 8 of my really good friends. And I'll be more than willing to go over the entire roster. So we have got my friend Jacob Lobel out of Massachusetts, Troy Lee out of Las Vegas, Nevada. We have got Kyle Knickerbocker, Carnage Productions out of Tecumseh, Michigan. We've got Mr. The Best Jelly, Connor Bauer. He's going to be representing his truck called the Pumpkin Smasher. John Costin, who is my little buddy who was here not too long ago, with his truck called Bayou Basher. Chucky Paukin III in his truck called Aftermath. We also have my really good friend, and honestly, if anybody here watches anything virtual monster trucks on YouTube, you probably heard of this guy. He runs the T-Ray channel. Brandon Scalf, Sonar 118. He's going to be driving in this tour, and it's already just an absolute stacked lineup. I'm super excited to be a part of this. I'm not competing. I'm just putting this whole thing together, but the whole thing is, if anybody knows the Sim Monsters community, everybody likes to talk and yap and run their mouth. So it's like, you know what? Run your truck, not your mouth, and this is the place to do it, live here on the Throttle Out show.
Yes, sir. I'm really looking forward to being a part of that as well, my man. We're working on doing some stuff, like I mentioned earlier, with the RC trucks as well. You never know what we're going to do over here on the Throttle Out show. Now, what are we going for next here?
I think since we're kind of already on a roll on talking smack on Monster Jam, I'd like to keep that train rolling because so if everybody likes to like reminisce a little bit about monster trucks, does anybody remember when Monster Jam stadium shows were cool and there were 16 trucks and it was always like really stacked? The racing bracket was even and everything. Didn't have to go by Friday or draw a name out of the hats to see who gets a bye run. So we went from 16 trucks to 14. And after looking at the lineup for, I believe it is the Louisiana show in New Orleans, it's only 12 trucks in a stadium event. So what we can kind of gather from this, guys, independents are kind of fed up with running with Monster Jam. They're making more money. They're being way more successful doing their own thing.
Or is it that Monster Jam doesn't usually run in the summer because they're usually overseas? And so now drivers here maybe are just trying to take some time off. They're busy. They don't usually drive during this time.
That's another one. I didn't even think about this now. Look at you.
Well, think about this, Harley. You know, Jimmy Cretin is the reigning World Finals racing champion. And he has never, since the World Finals, never appeared in another Monster Jam event since. He has been way more successful running his own tour with Too Extreme. And look at Zane Ratu. Him and all his stuff and his entire team, they were fairly successful in the arena side of the series. Haven't seen them in a while because they're off doing the Renegade shows. Joey Sylvester, he's running off in his own direction with his shows. Look at all the guys with Throwdown. The only big contenders you really have that are going to Monster Jam events as independents is the Swansons, the Kohlers, the Gardners, and the Pagliarillos. There's not really anybody else. Why? Because independent shows are way more successful. They're more entertaining.
You're not wrong. I 100,000% agree with that statement, especially the arena shows that Monster Jam puts on. It's not even a competition as to who I would rather go see. Independent arena show, Monster Jam arena show, no competition. Independent all the way.
So here's another thing I want to talk to you guys about. As you guys know, anybody that runs in a Monster Jam competition must run BKT tires. Does anybody want to take a wild guess how much each of those tires cost?
I used to know, damn it. Now
I thought we knew it.
$4,000 a tire.
Oh, I was going to say 3,000.
Each BKT tire is roughly around $4,000 a piece. And if anybody watches a Monster Jam show,
you sure it's not $4,000 yet?
No, $4,000 a piece, dude. They're custom made specifically for monster trucks. You're looking at an astronomical amount just to run a specific tire in a Monster Jam event, while you could go on a farmer's market. You could go to a local swap meet over in like a country town, find old Firestones, whatever, that used to run on some kind of farm equipment for like a couple $100, maybe $1,000, and it'll last you a lot longer because they're thick sidewalls, and if you hit a car, they're not going to slice in half.
Well, that you're not wrong about. Those tires are cheap. You know, they're supposed to be made lighter, so there was no tire shaving involved. But I mean, as we see, Monster Jam has been, you know, especially with their circle track racing, they've been wanting these trucks to drift. So that I think that might be where the BKT sort of came into play originally. But even now, they're like, oh, okay, the trucks need to have some sort of grip. So still trying to make them light, made the tires a little bit narrow, a little bit taller, more cleat to it. But as thin as they are now, they're still not going to hold up as good as a Goodyear, a Ukraine, a Firestone.
Nope.
Proof is in the pudding.
Right. Exactly. And like, don't get me wrong, I'm not against BKT. I'm not against seeing tire technology being developed into monster trucks. But why are we ignoring the fact that people have used specific type of tires for so long? Utilize what we know about those specific brands. Like a lot of the trucks used to run with Monster Jam before BKT came around were Ukraines, and they're still sought after. People are still trying to find those as independents because they were so good. They lasted a long time and they took a beating. Well, why are we not utilizing what we know about Firestones, about Goodyears, about Ukraines, about Sirs, about even Harper has developed his own type of tires, which I don't even think you can get a set anymore. But even he has developed his own set, which are cheaper than buying BKTs. I'm just saying, if you're going to be a leading tire sponsor of a monster truck industry, make tires that don't last only 3 shows until they're completely torn to shreds because of 3 crushed cars.
BKT, I don't know how long they've actually been in the tire industry. You know, ag tires, obviously. You don't just walk into your local tire store and get a set of BKTs for your car or your truck. They're for ag use mainly. But BKT designed these tires. Obviously, they're not, I can't remember what the term is, but you couldn't actually use these tires for road use. Okay. They're strictly for monster truck competition only. So, Spence, as you said in the past, the BKT ride truck doesn't even have BKT tires on the ride truck because technically they won't comply with, you know, normal DOT use. I can't remember the term I'm looking for here, but my point is, I mean, I agree. We go back to using the tires that have been true over time. We're starting to see now just what sponsorship does for Monster Jam. You see that now every single skill or every element in Monster Jam has its own name now. They're trying to do everything they can to please their sponsors. BKT does a lot for Monster Jam. What they do for Monster Jam, we don't really know because it seems like, you know, oh, we lost a tire over here. That's not good. And everybody's freaking out. Okay, well, we have a tire sponsor, don't we? And people just kind of like nod their head and they're like, yeah, We got a tire sponsor. We don't know what they do for us, but it's obviously not sending us free tires or good discounts on tires.
Which, speaking of sponsors, I'm glad we can kind of use this as a segue. Did you see that there's now a new sponsor with Monster Jam? It's called Direct Auto Insurance.
Mm-hmm.
There's an auto insurance company sponsoring Monster Jam. Why?
They had one, I don't know, almost 10 years ago now. They had Safe Auto sponsor monster trucks for a little while.
Safe Auto Minimizer was a auto insurance. I did not know that.
Pretty sure.
But it's just like, what does auto insurance have anything to do with monster trucks? Like, what is this crush car out here sponsored by Direct Auto Insurance? And after this event, it's going to be completely just refreshing because the policy covers this.
Monster trucks.
Yeah,
Yep. What is it? Best
America's
best eyewear, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. It's like there's no. What does glasses have anything to do with monster trucks? It's like, sorry, your kid's got to wear prescription glasses. Perfect for merchandise. Who cares?
It's all about what you do for the money, honey. That's what Monster Jam's doing.
Of America came to us. We wouldn't have them as a sponsor.
I wouldn't be too good. Remember, I'm just saying, dude, I'm getting so close to the point of I'm wanting to build a truck. I don't care who's going to sponsor me. You remember Talladega Nights where they pull out Bobby's truck for the last show and the car says Julio's thongs for men? Just saying, if we have a Julio thongs for men monster truck, I would drive it.
Is America's Best not a sponsor anymore for Monster Jam?
I believe not. I don't think so. Because I believe America's Best used to be, the racing segment of Monster Jam, and now it's Monster Energy.
Yeah.
So I believe Mr. Lashinsky is right.
Yep.
Metro PCS is another good one. Why is it that so many displays have been at Metro PCS? Which, by the way, anytime there's a Metro PCS, it's always in a bad neighborhood.
I know. I know. You know.
I know.
Yeah, one of the first things we did when her and I were on tour together is we took Jester and Kraken to a really bad part of Missouri. So Metro PCS.
Like,
it was awesome. It was great.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of miss when Ford was a sponsor for Monster Jam. Like the built Ford Tough Blue Thunder. I miss the commercials for that. I miss it was cool to be in the monster trucks because trucks are tough and trucks are cool. And now it's like, look, we have a cartoon character with 66-inch tires. Buy our merch. It's sad.
Well, you're not wrong. We got a lot of people laughing at these comments. So I tell you what, let's move on. This was a part of our description tonight, was to rank the top 5 monster truck drivers. And we've got 3 different categories for these top 5 drivers. We are literally halfway through the year. Okay, we couldn't be any more, just cut right in half. So my man, Austin Spence, you go ahead and you break down your top 5 Monster Jam drivers of this year, currently in the sport as we are halfway through the year. Break it down.
Of 2021.
Yeah.
That's all we're ranking this out of.
Just of 2021. Give your reasons why. They don't have to be in any specific order unless you already have it done, then that ain't no big thing. But hit it with this big guy.
So I'd just like to point out that I drew the short end of the stick on this because we have independents to also choose from, but I got to choose Monster Jam drivers. So anyways,
he had no choice.
I had no choice. It was 2-1. So I had no choice here. Okay. So I'm going to start from number 5, move all the way up to number 1. So number 5, when it comes to company drivers, I got to give number 5 out to Mr. Bryce Kenny. Bryce is by far, he is a great talker. He's great on the microphone. He's super chill with the fans. He almost has like his little posse that follows him at certain shows that are all wearing like Great Clips Mohawk Warrior crew shirts, which is kind of funny because if Monster Jam was a little bit more adult oriented, I think Tyler Duke would be walking around with the Monster Energy girls.
I mean, no joke.
So, oh, absolutely. As he should. I think it'd make for a great poster. So I think Bryce deserves a number 5 spot. He's a great talker. He has his ups and downs when he's not very consistent when it comes to him in competition in Monster Jam. And he always gets jitters whenever it's a certain driver. And you can tell, like if it's an Anderson or Mintz or whoever, if he lines up against a specific person, it's like he chokes. And you always, whether it's a spin out, a wreck or whatever. One of the best Bryce Kenny moments, I got to give it to him for this year, was the race between him and Ledoux, where both of them like rolled over or whatever, and Bryce was the only one that's like, oh, the race is still gone, and he just went over the ramp and still won it. So it's like, I got to give Bryce the number 5 spot. Now, number 4, I got to go with Bari Musawwir, because Bari is definitely one of those drivers that you don't really know what he's going to do at any given event. We have seen him literally perform the closest race of the Monster Jam season against one of the up-and-comers of the sport, Zach Gardner, with I think it was 0.4 of a second. Insane. Honestly, if the whole lighting situation didn't happen in Orlando and they actually legitimately reran the race between Bari and Jimmy Cretin, my money is on Bari all the way, because Bari is a hell of a driver. If his truck is top-notch, he's going to easily be top 5 by the end of the show, if not top 3. So Bari
slouch when it comes to racing, and obviously World Finals racing runner-up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So now here's the thing: top 3 is kind of, everybody knows who the top 3 is, but I don't think anybody's going to know what exact order. So coming in number 3 in the middle of the pack, Adam Anderson, because Adam, again, he's consistent, but Adam's been lacking quite a bit when it comes to wow factor. And I think the reason why he does so well in a lot of the tricks and a lot of the freestyle competitions is mainly because of the household name Gravedigger. Everybody wants to see Gravedigger do well. Everybody wants to see Gravedigger do, whatever. Everybody wants to see Gravedigger roll over, crash truck, whatever. Gravedigger. And that's why Gravedigger is always like up there in points, but doesn't really put on a great show. Now, I'm not going to take anything away from Adam, because Adam is a super stand-up guy. I mean, we've toured with him. He's not a jerk by all means. All these guys lately treat you like family. I love the Andersons. I really do. But I feel bad because I put his brother in the number 2 spot, Ryan Anderson, in number 2, because even though this guy is not in his truck, he's not in Son of a Digger, he drives this truck like it is Son of a Digger. And we know why he had to run this truck. Those pesky Spin Master sponsors having him run the Dragon truck. We don't like this truck. Nobody here on the Throttle Out show gives a damn about this Dragon dildo nose waving Dragon truck. Nobody cares.
Stupid truck.
Yes, stupid truck. But because it's Ryan, and because you see how he is with the fans, you see how he wheels that truck, you see how he is just in general, he gets a number 2 spot. Now, number 1. I'm sorry your guy did not make the list, Tweety. It was really tough, but
as well.
I agree. I'm confused.
Number 1's got to go to the professor, Mr. Tom Mintz, because it's Tom. Let's be 100% honest. The guy has been in this sport for a very, very long time. And even though I think Tom is over 50 years old, and the dude is still driving like he's in his 20s. And we have nothing but the utmost respect for the guy. That's not the best picture of him. He looks very wrinkly there. He needs a little bit of Botox or something in his face. But Tom has always been an amazing performer, an amazing dude. And honestly, I love the guy to death. The only thing I take a little bit back on him is Tom, back in the old days, I think he's responsible for giving some kids brain damage when he'd go up into the stands and smack his helmet on their heads. So if anybody in the comments is one of those unfortunate kids that got a good old smack in the head by Tom Mintz, let us know. So yeah, I'd have to say that is by far my top 5 for company drivers. My independent list were a little bit more in depth than that, but whatever. Thanks, guys.
Well, you get short in the stick, and truth be told, your top 5 Monster Jam drivers are wrong. I'm sorry.
Look, I can't put Todd LeDuc. That's just not fair.
I think I think I would take Bryce out of your list and put Todd in it.
Ooh.
I think
why?
That's how I just think Todd's drove better than Bryce this year. That's just my opinion.
For somebody who ended up second in points overall, just in first quarter, where Bryce was not anywhere close to that, that's why I would agree. And that was just first quarter alone. So I would have to agree with her on that. But that's our opinion. Yeah. You already voiced yours. Now she gets to voice her opinion. I thought you were going next. Nope, you're next.
I forgot.
He's shy, Tweet. He's shy, Harley.
Okay. So I get to name my top 5 independent Monster Jam drivers.
This
is just going off of this year.
Just off of this year and just independent drivers.
I'm working off of a
Jam.
very small list of independent drivers for Monster Jam this year.
Oh, yeah.
And are you going in any specific order or no?
I would say no. I'm not going in any specific order.
Okay.
I'll just give my top 5 if I can find them.
Jeez.
Okay. One of them is Zach Gardner, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
In the short amount of time he was with Monster Jam or did a few shows with Monster Jam, he's proven that, he deserves to be on a stadium floor.
Good point.
And also our guest that we had on the show on Wednesday, David Tutaw, who got to debut the Jurassic Attack truck at a Monster Jam show this year.
And won.
Yep. And he's going to be in a Greenville show coming up. Green Bay.
Green Bay.
Greenville.
And then Corey Rummel, obviously, this year. And Jamie Garner. And let's see, my 5th one would have to be Nick Pagliulo.
Your former team.
Whoa, time out. Where's Jim Kohler?
What are you
Is Jim Kohler not on this list?
Jim Kohler is not on my list, unfortunately. That's just... Sorry, Spence. Sorry.
Hold on. I want everybody in this comment section yelling at Harley right now. Like, Jim Kohler needs to be number 1 on that list. I'm sorry.
No specific order. These are just 5 drivers. 5 indie drivers.
What I said.
Everyone's got their opinion.
The Michigan boy is offended. His fellow Michiganite is not on the list. That's all it is. She already picked somebody else from Team Scream. It just wasn't his favorite.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Corey, but he's actually from Ohio. He's not from Michigan.
Yeah.
I think whenever Harley and I were given our list earlier, the deal was it's like, obviously we would have to throw Jim on the list, but we were trying to get a good mix of stadium versus and arena drivers. It's kind of hard to put them all. I mean, otherwise we have to do separate lists, and then that could go on forever on technicalities. So, I mean, I kind of see why you did that there. Nick Pagliarulo won his first ever freestyle and overall here recently on the arena tour. He's only been doing just two, maybe 3 shows, I think, with Monster Jam thus far this year, and he's really getting the hang of that cracking monster truck.
Look, we're going to do our top 5 at the end of the year again.
You're damn right we are.
So
we'll get more in depth of why we chose these people.
Maybe he sees why now. I was so upset when he didn't put Todd on his
list.
Now
you know. Yeah, it doesn't feel that great, right?
No, I still don't care.
Feelings have been hurt on this show. All right, well, I'll go ahead and I'll give you my top 5 independents, non-Monster Jam, okay? If you already run for Monster Jam as an independent, you cannot be on this list. These are in obviously no specific order either. Harley, if you want to go to the picture page.
Yes.
You're telling me you have a list of drivers that's not Todd LeDuc?
Believe it or not, I do. Yeah, and I'm going, so this is how I'm rating my list. I'm looking at obviously independent drivers, but I'm also looking at drivers who, if you were to hire one of these drivers for a stunt show, okay, they could go out and put this or a movie, try to hire out stunt drivers for a movie. You could go and tell these guys to put these put these trucks exactly where they need to be, anywhere on a racetrack or in the middle of a big downtown city. They could do that. Okay, so first one on the list would have to be Jerry Beck Dirt Crew. Guy's been running the toughest shows the last few years. Obviously had a truck like that before Earthshaker even came out, but this year alone has just been tearing up the track. I love watching this guy drive that truck. Next up on the list would have to be Austin Minton in Jekyll and Hyde. After watching him perform a few months ago at the Denton, Texas show.
Did you spell independent wrong, Penny?
Yes, you did.
Did? Still wrong?
You did.
What's wrong?
INDEPENDENT. You would put ANT, not ENT.
Independent.
The one-time autocorrect did not work in my favor.
Okay, never mind the spell. The
no, we're holding this over his head now.
Did I get back to talking about my list now? But this guy has been all over America this year, running for Team 2 Extreme, putting on great shows at these little farm, county shows. and obviously a great guy to be around and work with as well. Austin Minton has been doing great things this year. Harley's going to go ahead and spell correct independent. So
I just want to say that little kid looks terrified of Austin there on the right. He is not happy to see him.
He probably stinks in that picture.
There he's peeing himself anyway.
I'd say number 3 on the list would have to be Joey Sylvester. No coincidence because he was on our show last week or anything like that. I just think this guy is doing so much for the sport, especially this year, putting on his own damn shows, going all over the place, and having nothing to do with Monster Jam at the same time. And this isn't related to this year, but obviously he holds the world record long jump. I talked about earlier. I wanted guys who could, put the truck, on a dime if they had to. This is one of those guys right here, and Joey Sylvester. Let's see who else we got here on my list. Harley Joe. How about this? Yeah, go ahead and click on that one right there. Who's that guy, Austin?
Ryan Disharoon, even though you have him literally at a Monster Jam venue.
Talking about Monster Jam. Talking about this year, okay? This is not taken this year. He's not been doing any Monster Jam shows, and obviously got to be considered in the top 5 for independent drivers. And then I believe I have one more, and this was a controversial topic between Harley and I because we're talking about this year, okay? This year alone, not last year, not the year before, not all the things he's done in Monster Jam, but who now has to be the top dog in independence, and he is arguably one of the greatest drivers of all time, Mr. Jimmy Cretin in Bounty Hunter. I love watching their shows. Love watching this guy drive. Obviously, just did a donut in the mud last night with 3 tires on the truck in a small little podunk town of Marion, Illinois, and put on a great show. Jimmy Cretin has to be the king of the independents right now at this point in the year, 2021.
That's a tall order saying he's the king of independents as of right now. I mean, yeah, he's putting on his own shows. But I've seen some of the shows that he's had, and they're not very big.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just saying there's definitely some independents that are willing to put on a way better show with way bigger surface area than some of the stuff that Jimmy Cretin's been able to put on. I'm not saying he's not the king of independents, but as far as everything that he's been doing this year, no.
I see your point. Well, I definitely see your point because we don't see him running with Throwdown. We don't see him running with All-Star or Mad Motor, all these other independent promoters. So I see your point because he's doing his own shows. So I see what you're saying.
We're getting yelled at by Jeff Sen for not mentioning Cody.
Sorry, Jeff.
He needs to be signed to a team, dude. Like, we want him to either go back to Monster Jam as a signed contracted driver, or somebody in the independent sign him full time.
Well, not just that. We're talking about like somebody who has been consistent week in and week out, not just somebody who's done a few shows here and there. Cody he's got to get in there somewhere. He's got to be a full-time independent, full-time MJ. But that's the reason why a lot of people didn't make our list. Is I could say, if I want to be biased, throw in my dad as a driver. He's done one show this year. That would make sense. Same thing for Harley's dad. He's only done one show this year so far. So and obviously Cody has done just a couple. So.
I like this comment right here.
It's not the size of the show or track. It's the size of the talent of the driver. Matt, I couldn't agree more, which is why Jimmy, like I said, is going to be, if I didn't, put my drivers in any specific order, but Jimmy would totally be number 1. Right now, Jimmy Cretin is the king of independence. Clearly no love for Harper or Colton. Well, man. You're not wrong. I kind of feel stupid now that I saw that.
You should. You should. You can't spell independent correctly, Tweety.
Damn it.
It also could be because if we don't see like any footage of the show, then we're not going to know.
Yeah.
Unless we go to the show.
There's not a lot of footage of those shows, like hardly, if any. I could go through right now and I go back to January even and find 2 or 3 things on those drivers. So we're not getting any footage from these guys. We're not going to know about them. But, I mean, I'm not going to argue with that, though. Harper's a great driver. Obviously, Colton and Jared are as well.
Maybe at the end of the year, we'll do like a top 10 so our list isn't so.
So there's more. Yeah. So there's more to go around. Yeah. Right now, we're just doing top 5 right now, halfway through the year. So that's my list. I'm glad y'all disagree with the way I spell independent. I appreciate you. Spence. You
It's
jerk.
not us disagreeing. There's literally a book that tells you what words are. It's called a dictionary. You should look it up, dude.
It's 2021. We don't use those anymore.
Okay, apparently not. Thank God for autocorrect, I guess.
We use autocorrect, and it failed me tonight.
Yes, it did. 100%. And we have a ton of people watching that can tell you that as well.
The world is watching. Oh man, Spence, you got anything else for us?
Honestly, at the moment, I think we covered pretty much everything that has gone into tonight. This was a lot of fun for us, really not knowing what we were going to do tonight. So I'm glad we covered as much as we did.
Now, tonight was a pretty good show. We thank y'all for tuning in. We got a lot going on this Wednesday. I can't wait to chat with y'all this Wednesday.
Ooh. Jennifer Patterson makes a good comment. What about female drivers?
About female drivers. I mean, they're thrown into the mix, though. They've got every opportunity to make the list right now. I mean, unless you're talking about making a separate list for female drivers. I mean, we can do that too.
But there's really not many. I mean, when you think about it, as of right now for 2021, there's just really not many. It took so long for Cynthia to get the clear to finally come down to the States. I think just a couple weeks ago she was able to compete.
A good job at driving the truck. She just wouldn't be in our top 5. So
not even top 10.
Okay, Spence. Just
Okay.
I'd put Kristen in my top 10. I would not put Lindsay Reed in my top 10. I'm no offense to Lindsay Reed. She's a nice gal and everything, but
Detroit, Michigan, go to his house, give him a visit. Awesome.
There's no hate, to female drivers. There's just not any like top 5 female drivers right now. Sorry,
because I just don't think there is 5. That's the thing. I don't even think there is 5 because that
right now I don't think there is.
Well,
there might be 5 in all of Monster Trucks. That
we
might
have
be it.
Brianna coming back in Whiplash. There's Kayla Blood coming back. Cynthia's coming back now, and Lindsay Reed's driving as well. So more females are coming back.
There's that
And
Brittany girl. I can't. Yeah, I can't pronounce her last name. And then former Monster Jam driver, I can't remember her name. She occasionally drives Quad Chaos every now and then. Can't remember her name.
Bailey Shea.
Bailey Shea. Yep.
Bailey
so
Shea.
there's 6 and Dawn Cretan. Sorry, Dawn.
We all love Dawn Cretan.
Mm-hmm. I think you guys are just afraid of Jimmy.
Rebecca.
But...
So maybe we'll end of the year. We'll make a separate list.
Make a separate list for female drivers.
That's fair.
Well, you see Dustin Brown's comment?
Yep, same opportunities and still no overall. It's not even the top 15. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree, boss man. 100%.
That's like I said. I mean, they had every opportunity
Yeah.
to make the list. We're looking at all drivers all the way around the globe here. So, and I say all the way around the globe. Maybe I should pay a little bit more attention to what's going down in the land down under with the monster trucks. Maybe they're going to be my top 10 by the end of the year. Because I really enjoyed that show I got to watch with Monster Truck Mania a few weeks ago. So don't be sleeping on them. But anyways, y'all, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I can't wait to get to Wheels Up Wednesday. I promise I'll be there this time or I'll be quitting my job, one of the two. But like I said, check out Monster Truck Technologies, book by Marty Garza. Thank you, Vixen Industries, for helping us out so much. And remember, when in doubt, throttle out, y'all. Peace out and good night.